tomorrow. That's been your First Alert forecast. I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Got some news for you.
When it's important to you, stay informed. It's on News Talk STL.
The Federal Reserve hiked interest rates again.
Inflation, gas prices, fuel, it's all up.
There were vocal protests against mobilization.
Russia and Putin are struggling badly.
We got to give our men and women of Homeland, Border Patrol, eyes.
We're in favor of America. We're in favor of an America First economic policy, an America First foreign policy.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. News, analysis, and opinion. This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by All Solutions Pest Control, 636-486-7888, or visit them at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Tony Colombo.
Libertarianism is all about individual liberty.
Katie Fitzpatrick.
Oh, good for you.
Colombo and
because I printed everything again because it didn't print.
I did touch the copier.
This one. Okay.
I did touch the printer
We're
and
good.
copier.
We got this.
But I don't think it's necessarily all my fault.
I'm not blaming you.
Joey did.
Oh, he did?
Joey's very comfortable blaming me. Well, Joey.
If Joey blamed you, then
you do.
I'll second that
okay.
emotion. Hello and welcome to the Friday. Thank God it's Friday edition of Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. You know,
what's up?
It's just interesting how fragile our lives are. Like, seriously. Like, just now, there was a very minor problem with our printer. Mm-hmm. And it's just like the whole world comes to a screeching halt.
But we need that
how
printer.
Can I possibly live my life if I couldn't print this piece of paper today?
We need that printer.
No, it's a little bit sad, but that's the world we live in.
That's what we do.
Lots going on today. We have got a great show for you. It is Friday, which means we'll have a little Friday fun time towards the end of the show as we close out the week. That is always a good time. I think our buddy Paul Cook is going to join us in studio for some Friday fun time. The only way to make Friday fun time more fun is by adding a little Paul Cook to the proceedings.
The best.
So that's going to be good. Also, it being Friday means we will check in with our friends over at Channel 4. Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton will join us to give us the weekend forecast. And man, oh man, we are on a roll.
It's
Steve,
beautiful.
You tell Steve before he gets on the air, don't you come in here and start screwing this thing up.
Mm-hmm. I will tell him that.
You keep it exactly where it's at. You don't be messing with the levers at all. You just leave it right
where it is.
Just leave it in gear. Just leave it right on where the same path we've been on.
Do the Colombos have AC or heat on in the house?
Oh yeah, both.
We have neither on. We have not had. We have been off.
Listen,
HVAC off for the last week.
HVAC never goes off. Listen, that new system that we've got from Eggers.
Yep.
You can put it in with like a 3-degree window.
It's great.
Like never let the house get warmer than this. Never let the house get cooler than this. That's always on.
That's always on.
Always.
Man, and I know my husband, it's a freeze out. He already texted me. He's like, it's so cold in this house, Katie. But I'm such a cheapo that I'm like, no, we can last a little bit longer, don't you think? Just layer up. We can last a little bit longer without anything on.
Has the pregnancy changed your internal temperature one way or another?
Oh, yeah.
So are you way more
so
hotter than usual?
So hot. So unbelievably
you're really
hot.
keeping it cold.
Oh, it is cold in the house. It was 65 degrees in our house this morning.
Let's go. See?
It was amazing.
Try 63 out. See what you think.
I don't know. I
That's
don't know
where
if I
I've
can
been
go
at.
that far. 65 is, it was brisk in the house. It
Yeah,
was cold.
right.
And David is like, what are we doing? I'm like, this is the way we are living for now.
This is our life.
This is temporary, but it's happening. It's great.
Not temporary at our house. That's how I like
It's
it.
permanent.
Keep it nice and cool. So, Paul Cook for Friday Fun Time, Steve Templeton for the weekend forecast, and last minute edition, Gabe Pfeiffer from the morning show usually joins us on Fridays. Today, we thought he was called away on important top secret rocket scientist mission stuff, but he's able to join us and he's on the phone. Gabe, what's up, dude?
Hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah, thanks.
I managed to find a little bit of a window.
I love
in
it.
Some tasks here, so while we're in within satellite range, while we're waiting for for things to happen, I can join you on the phone.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great. Gabe usually joins us every Friday, but today we thought we were going to lose him. But he's here, and that's wonderful. So, let's dive into some headlines. We'll do some headlines. We'll do some serious stories here for the next couple segments, and we'll talk to Steve, then we'll talk to Paul, and then it'll be time for the weekend. Sounds like a plan to me. Democrats are even attacking Nancy Pelosi for the failure of the House leadership, House leadership after the Stock Act fizzles. There are certain Democrats now that are calling for new leaders. This all stems around the Nancy Pelosi's husband trading on insider information, and he's just magically really good at playing the stock market like these days, and
Almost like a psychic.
And this has always been a big problem in the United States government because Congress people have. They not only do they get information that other people don't have, they have power. They have influence on things that can affect certain stocks or industries or whatever. And so with that knowledge and with that influence, they can have an advantage when it comes to investing and things like that. And their family members can have this. So this has been going on for a long time. Well, a House Democrat today blasted House Speaker Nancy Pelosi for failure of House leadership by refusing to call up legislation to impose tougher stock trading restriction on members of Congress. The representative is a Democrat from Virginia. She said that she has been working with members since 2020 to call up a bill that would strengthen the provisions of the Stock Act, a 2012 law that prohibits lawmakers from using inside information to profit from stock trading. How's that going? Support for a complete ban on trading by lawmakers grew this year. But some even Democrats now and many Republicans accuse Nancy Pelosi and other Democrat leaders of shutting it down. Gabe, where do you stand on the whole situation? They're still United States citizens. They don't necessarily work in the industry. That's the argument, that they should still be allowed to have a portfolio like everyone else. But as I just also laid out, there are some very compelling reasons why you could say that it is not fair for Congress people, members of Congress, members of Senate, or their families to trade stocks. Where do you fall in this whole thing?
I don't think they should be able to trade in direct stocks at all while holding office. I think if you've got a blind trust of some sort, or a mutual fund, or anything, if you want to do that, that's fine. But being able to pick winners and losers and pick winners and losers at the same time, you know what I'm saying, is I think it's out of bounds. Because here's what ends up happening is, and this is why I think we have the system the way we do, is that Congress comes along and they come into your store and they say, hey, it's a nice business you have here. It would be a shame if something happened to it. And all of a sudden you get lobbyists showing up, pleading and asking for whatever it is. You especially with the big gigantic businesses, they have deep pockets, and they're able to buy influence enough to craft laws that freeze out potential competition from smaller businesses. all of that stuff goes on, and everybody knows it. Everybody knows that's how the lobby system works. Now, cutting off the access that members of Congress have to that mechanism, I think would basically be cutting off the head of that snake, and we would see that type of influence peddling die on the vine. But that may also be why it's not going anywhere.
I couldn't agree with you more. There's plenty of perks to being in the United States government.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to have illegal access, basically, to free money in the stock market.
I also think that even if you weren't doing something nefarious, the optics of it are just so horribly bad. Like, Chris Arps has brought up before that Nancy Pelosi's husband has a history of working in a hedge fund or in some capacity he worked with the stock market before he married Nancy Pelosi. And I can't remember exactly what his job was. But it's the optics of doing something like her husband has been able to do, and we believe that it is.
And it actually gets to be it actually is pretty close to like one of these situations. Normally, I have no problem saying it's corrupt and you shouldn't do it and it's unethical. And certainly for somebody like Nancy Pelosi, who's got millions and millions, has been in office for decades and decades. Right. But if you're a congressperson that's been in, that's brand new, that's only been in office, for a term or two, and it's not something you plan on doing forever, and you have a chance to make some investment to help you could make the argument that it would be dumb not to for your family. You have an opportunity to make a safe bet or whatever you want to call it, a solid investment in order to solidify your family's financial safety for a long time. It almost would be you for once. I'm not even saying everybody that does this is evil, even though I do find it unethical. It's one of these situations what? Of course, I'm going to do that.
What wouldn't you do for your family?
Wouldn't you do right? Mm-hmm. Exactly. So taking away that temptation, on top of all of it, I think, is another reason why I would agree with everything that you just said, Gabe. I want to read this. I want to read this one quote here. This is from the representative I was talking about, Abigail Spanberger. She's a Democrat out of Virginia. She said, quote, after first signaling her opposition to these reforms, the speaker purportedly reversed her position. However, our bipartisan reform coalition was then subjected to repeated delay tactics, hand-waving gestures, and blatant instances of Lucy pulling the football. This moment marks a failure of House leadership, and it's yet another example of why I believe that the Democratic Party needs new leaders in the halls of Capitol Hill. That's a Democratic Congresswoman, Gabe, saying that it's time for new leadership. It's time for Nancy and Chuck to go.
Mm. Hey, broken clock is right twice a day.
That's such a great point. Yeah. Katie, you think there's ever any chance of you think the Democratic Party ever gets rid of Nancy Pelosi?
No.
And she has to get rid of herself.
I think that
Grandma, come home.
Didn't it just happen? Didn't she just get elected again by her party to keep her speakership? Didn't that happen not long ago?
Yeah, I mean, it happens every 2 years.
So
it happens.
And they decided we're going to keep her.
January. Yeah.
So, and I mean, this is the only case, Gabe, I don't know if you agree with this or not, but the only case that I would make of Nancy Pelosi going anywhere is if there is a stronger representation and there are bigger numbers in the highly progressive wing that take over that Democrat Party. We know that that's already building. We know that they're the loudest voices, the squeaky wheel. They get the most attention. But if we're talking about actual numbers and we're talking about popularity, if we start seeing a huge uprising in the Democrat Party of these hyper-progressive people, and one of them is willing to challenge Nancy Pelosi, I'm not even saying if someone is there to make an actual statement against Nancy Pelosi and have the numbers to push her out and tell her she shouldn't run again, she should resign, anything like that could happen. That is the only circumstance that I would see Nancy Pelosi being served my time, done what I could do. I don't want to put up with these youngsters anymore. I'm out.
Yeah.
I mean, but besides the possibility of her simply, I don't want to say it, but passing in office essentially,
Yeah.
or deciding finally to retire and give herself, 3 years to enjoy the money that her husband has built up over time. I don't see anything other than those things really getting at her, except the very, very vague possibility that an ascendant progressive wing, like you said, basically comes through and one of the squad makes a serious play for that position. But I don't really see that happening before Nancy's time is up. She's really old, guys.
Yeah, and she, I think that she ties her identity into her power,
For
into her
sure.
position. Like,
how could you not after all this time?
It's everything she is. I could very easily go enjoy my retirement. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but she can't. She's without her power, without her titles, she's nothing in her eyes. I think.
Yeah, I
think
agree
it's
with that.
all about being the boss. It's all about being, having that influence better than everybody.
I also think she and Chuck Schumer both are like, if there is another Donald Trump that becomes president, or if Donald Trump becomes president again, there needs to be, Pelosi actually believes, and so does Chuck Schumer, they are the only two people that could challenge someone like Donald Trump and attempt to control him in some manner, or someone like a Donald Trump. I'm like, neither one of you could even accomplish that for 4 years whenever that happened.
Gabe, can you can you stick around and do one more segment with us? I have a story. I can do it right now if you've got to go, but if not, I'll take a quick break and we'll do it when we get back. Do you need to go or can you stay?
I can hang.
Okay, great. I've got this story that I want to that I definitely want to get Gabe's thoughts on, and some other headlines of the day. Let's get into those in just a moment. Let's go ahead and take a quick first break and be right back with more Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Colombo and Katie, the new faces of talk radio. The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
The Federal Reserve hiked interest rates again.
News, analysis, opinion.
Inflation, gas prices, fuel, it's all up.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
It is beautiful outside. We're going to get that weekend forecast from Steve Templeton here in just a little bit. But man, what a great time of year to be enjoying the outdoors. And one of those things you can be doing outside is grilling. This is a perfect time of year to be outside enjoying the back deck, the back patio, doing some grilling. And if you want to maximize that experience, you need to have some Rockwood lump charcoal alongside. Jonathan Hessler from Rockwood Charcoal was just in studio with us yesterday. If you missed that conversation, make sure you go back and check out the podcast. Always great when Jonathan is able to join us in studio. We talk about lump charcoal. We talk about Rockwood lump charcoal and how it has now up 9 years in a row has been rated the number one consumer ranked charcoal in the country. So it's a national favorite, but it's a local business. You're supporting a great local company when you purchase Rockwood Charcoal, as well as using the best product available for almost 10 years running now. And not only do they have the charcoal, but they also have other great products like the smoking woods. We talked a lot about that yesterday. So there's more things that you can take advantage of when it comes to Rockwood Charcoal. It's just so much, it's just a superior product than maybe the typical briquettes that you're sort of traditionally used to cooking with. It's so much cleaner. It is so much, it burns faster. It burns hotter. It gives you more control. You don't have to use nearly as much of it whenever you are grilling. So it lasts, you get a lot more bang for your buck when you're using lump charcoal. And if you start to incorporate those smoking woods and other things, you can do, you just have more control over the entire process because everything that goes into it, it's a blank slate when you use Rockwood lump charcoal. So everything that goes into it is being put there by you, whether it be the spices, the sauce, the smoke, whatever it is, it's all controlled by you. Rockwood lump charcoal is available at over 100 area stores, and you can find the closest one to you, as well as pick up some great grilling tips and tricks now at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
10-year-old George Haruza and his parents, with only what they could carry in a suitcase, made a daring escape from behind the Iron Curtain of communism. George Haruza and his family risked their lives fleeing communist oppression to secure the freedom and promise of America. George Haruza quickly learned English, studied hard, and worked harder. Overcoming every hurdle in his way, George Haruza is now a world-renowned surgeon, educator, and physician leader.
So I do believe in a limited government. Governments should provide for the people who are really in need, encourage everybody else to rise up to their potential, and then mostly get out of the way.
Now, George Haruza wants to bring his record of getting good things done to the state Senate, and George Haruza understands the mission. George Haruza for State Senate, a record of getting good things done. Paid for by Haruza for Missouri.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Well, y'all made it to Friday with us. Chris, Katie, and I will have Zach Smith of the Heritage Foundation at 525 Grover Norquist.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 3:30 on News Talk STL.
That. Look at that.
This is so bad.
We're looking at pictures of the after effects of Hurricane Ian down in Florida, and there's a
oh my gosh.
There's a marina, and the boats are literally stacked on top of each other. Like stacked on top of each other. They have just gotten blown so
How are they going to rebuild
that is
these portions
wild.
of Florida?
Welcome back to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. I'm Tony Colombo. My partner is Katie Fitzpatrick. Gabe Pfeiffer from the Morning Show, from the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show, is with us as well. And while we have Gabe, and before we get to the weekend forecast and some Friday fun time, got a couple more stories I wanted to get here. And I want to get your guys' reaction to this. Talking about Nancy Pelosi in that last segment, how she's even angered some of her own party for shooting down this recent stock bill that would make it tougher and maybe even illegal for members of Congress to have access to the stock market. So that's been a negative look for Nancy today, and so has this. Pelosi says farmers need illegal immigrants to pick the crops.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
You guys heard that right. Listen to this. This is wild. Nancy Pelosi says that Florida and Texas shouldn't be sending immigrants north because those states, Florida and Texas, and states along the border, need the immigrants to pick the crops. Listen to this. This is wild. Nancy Pelosi was asked about whether the southern border is secure and responded by saying that, quote, "We have a responsibility to secure our border. We also have a responsibility to recognize the importance of newcomers to our nation. Right now, the best thing that we can do for our economy is comprehensive immigration reform," which, by the way, that means amnesty, people. So just remember that. When somebody on the left says they need immigration, we need immigration reform to address the issue of illegal immigrants being here, they're talking about amnesty. She then pressed her economic argument and made reference to recent moves by Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida and other Republican governors to move illegal immigrants north to places like Martha's Vineyard, New York City, Washington, D.C., and Chicago. Quote, Nancy Pelosi, quote, we have a shortage of workers in our country. And you have seen, even in Florida, some of the farmers and the growers saying, why are you shipping these immigrants up north? We need them to pick the crops down here. Do you hear yourself, Nancy? Gabe,
oh man,
okay, Gabe, what is the difference of that in somebody saying like, hey, we need the black people in the South to pick the cotton? I mean, how racist can a statement be? So Latino immigrants, that's all they're good for? That's what we need them in the United States? That's all they're capable of, is to come here and pick our crops? Like, there is There's so many things wrong with that statement. I mean, how does it hit you?
Oh, that you hit the nail on the head when you brought up the reference to the slaves, because you got to remember, guys, the Democrat Party, it was and on some level, I think, still is the party of slavery. I mean, honestly,
yeah, yes,
they like.
They're saying the quiet part out loud now too.
Yeah, exactly. They like to have an underclass that is available to them to do their dirty work. So if you put it in those terms, it's always the same. You look at the way they treat minority voters and minority votes. They always want an underclass, people who are oppressed, to do their dirty work, to make phone calls and knock on doors and put up signs. Remember, who was it on The View who said, "Well, who's going to clean our toilets?"
Oh, yeah, man.
Yes,
You guys remember that?
Yes. I mean, listen to the terminology that she uses. Not only the fact that she says that they're needed to pick the crops, but she also says she says that the farmers and growers are saying, "Why are you shipping these immigrants like they are property, like they're goods, like they are a thing, not a person? Why are you shipping these products that we need down here?" It's just everything about that statement. And don't give me like, "Oh, well, she was just talking blah, blah, blah." No, this is saying the quiet part out loud.
Oh, yeah.
This is exactly what Nancy and many other Democrats think and feel about these people.
Kelly Osbourne was the person. She guest starred on The View, Gabe. And that's who she said that about Latino and Latina workers. Who's going to clean our toilets? I look at this though, and it's baffling to me. It's actually crazy to me that in this instant, the Democrats are still getting what they want when it comes to illegal immigration. They're still getting the amnesty. They're still allowing open borders. They're still getting what they want at the end of the day when it comes to migrants coming from a country into the United States illegally, not having to go through a process, not having to do the rigmarole. The only part that's different for them is that now these conservative governors and conservative people that are living in these border cities are determining where they're going to go, which is, it's crazy to me because they still are getting what they want at the end of the day. They just don't like the idea, truthfully and honestly, another racist point to this, they don't like the idea of illegal immigrants being in their backyard, which makes their whole entire premise of we're welcoming everybody. We want everyone to be able to have easy access to come into the United States. That crumbles to the ground because, as Charlemagne the God pointed out 2 weeks ago, and I can't believe it was him that pointed it out with his panel, they don't want illegal immigrants just as much as conservatives don't, but they don't want them for a different reason.
They don't want them in their community. They want them down south picking crops, and they want their vote, and that's it.
And if this doesn't highlight that of Nancy Pelosi and every other Democratic leader,
I mean, she just said it out loud.
Putting their panties in a wad because they don't know, because they're like, what is Governor DeSantis and what is Governor Abbott doing sending these illegal immigrants to different locations around the United States? Well, why does that make you upset and angry when this is exactly what you've been voting on and that you've been wanting? You want them dispersed all over the United States. You just want to have control over where they go.
Gabe, can you imagine if Ron DeSantis said the words, "We want to keep these immigrants in Florida to pick the crops"? I mean,
we're shipping, or how about this? That we're shipping them to where we need them to go.
Is it? It is so. It's so dripping with racism. It's disgusting, isn't it?
It's kind of staggering. But of course the thing is, Democrats are inoculated from racism because they're these supposed good guys.
Yeah.
The pop culture has been so inculcated with that idea that people will hear this and they will automatically, if you didn't say who said it, they would automatically say, "Oh, it's those racist Republicans again."
Yeah.
And then you tell them who it is, and they would say, "Oh, well, that's not what she meant."
Yeah, and we've known that that's what they've meant for years. People like you, Gabe. You just brought it up, and people like Burgess Owens and Chris Arps, and I mean, like we've had these conversations for years. Democrats have been, as you said, this has been the institutionalized Democrat Party for a long time. This is their institutional belief about certain types of people.
Absolutely, they just managed to basically, I've described it this way. Democrats like to have their new racism with a hug.
All right, so like I said, I'm trying to get all the blood boiling stories out of the way in the first half of the show, so we can have the forecast and Friday fun time in the second half of the show. So here we go. Let's keep them rolling. The Women's March organization just proclaimed on Twitter, put out a statement to make it crystal clear. Their name is Women's March. That's the name of their group. But they put out a statement saying, "We are not just pro-choice. We are proudly, unapologetically pro-abortion. Retweet if you agree." That is the entire statement. That is the entire statement. Quote, "We are not just pro-choice. We are proudly, unapologetically pro-abortion. Retweet if you agree." Katie, you are a pro-life woman. This is a group called Women's March. Doesn't sound like this is a women's organization, does it?
No. We are. You said this before, Gabe. You've definitely said this too. There is no room in a women's march that is put together by political operatives, specifically from the Democratic Party, that has pro-life people, pro-life women at all attached or at all involved. They don't want anything to do with us. We're not even on their radar. I mean, and we see example of it time after time whenever we have people like AOC and people from these different organizations saying, if you're a Democrat and you're pro-life, we actually don't need your kind anymore. We don't want anything to do with you. You're not a Democrat. You need to vote these people out. They don't want pro-life people, even though they use generic, all-encompassing words like women.
Exactly. Gabe, thoughts?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Gabe.
What's funny is October is the month for Halloween, and it seems to also be the month where all the masks are coming off for the Democrats right now. It's crazy. I mean, you got Nancy Pelosi with that statement, and now the Women's March here. It's so hey, everybody enjoy. You realize that that face that they've been portraying for forever is the fake one, and the monster is underneath.
Here's one. Maybe this will start to turn the corner as far as the anger with these stories today. Headline story that I found very fascinating. Christian parents win in court after their school labeled their 6-year-old son transphobic.
What?
A school labeled a 6-year-old transphobic,
who just probably learned how to spell their name.
The parents just won in court. So at the end, there's silver lining. I'll tell you the story. 2 Christian parents in the United Kingdom have prompted the government to revise its gender-related guidance for children after they took legal action when a school labeled their 6-year-old son as potentially transphobic. Nigel and Sally Rowe explained how they first raised concern with their son's Isle of Wight primary school after he came home confused by the school's transgender affirming policies towards his male classmate who identified as a girl. This happened a few years ago, but the court case just ended, and like I said, they won the court case, and the policies have got to be, from a federal standpoint, have to be revised now. This happened. So this is a few years ago, I think 2019, 2020 maybe, when their son was 6 years old, and one of his classmates and a friend who he had known for a couple of years. I mean, he's only 6, so how far back can you go? This kid decided that they wanted to go from being a boy to being a girl, and it was just announced to the kids. What's 6? First grade, right?
Yeah,
6 years old is first grade. So it was just announced to the kids in class, hey, this little boy who you've been going to school with is now a little girl. The parents said there was no consultation on the topic with parents, and that one of the students simply announced in circle time that he was now a girl, to which the school supported without question. The parents met with their son's teachers at the time about the issue and sent a letter to the school laying out their concerns about its gender policies. When they were reportedly met with a cold response, and instead of listening to their concerns, they said the school sent them a letter that accused both them and their 6-year-old son as being as displaying potential transphobic behavior. In the letter, one of the paragraphs stated that we would be deemed transphobic if we did not adhere to that belief, if we did not recognize a child can change his gender. But then my son, at the age of 6, would also be deemed transphobic if he didn't use the correct pronouns or recognize the other child to be a little girl now instead of a boy. The court ruled in the parents' favor, and the school has been forced to change its policies after the court case. How do you unpack all that, Gabe? Wow.
I could not imagine trying to grow up right now.
No kidding. Good, well said.
They're further along in the down the woke rabbit hole than we are, as you know, because they don't have certain protections. They're more prone to authoritarianism when it comes to speech and religious expression and things like that. So I can see how this madness can catch all of them. And of course, you're dealing with little kids. So how do you tell somebody who's known a kid for a third of his life, 2 years.
Yeah. And they've always been their friend that's a little boy that all of a sudden, no, you have to start calling him a girl, and they can't figure that out. And they're like, well, no, that's a boy. His name's Tom. And they're like, nope, now you're transphobic. What? He's 6.
Oh my gosh.
It's incredible. And it's scary.
I think that there's something to be said too at such a young age for punishing a kid for being inquisitive about what this means. Yeah. Like there is something to be said that the training for that kind of ideology begins quite young, so that when they're older, they're never, this might be hyperbolic, and I don't mean it to be like, panic, but there is something to be said that at a very young age, when you teach someone not to be curious and you teach someone not to be inquisitive and not to ask questions, and that it's a bad thing to be like, what's going on? This doesn't make sense to me. Can someone explain it to me? Then their whole entire life, they fall into a complacent manner and they believe that that's okay. They believe that's right to just fall into line and not question anything because they don't want to get in trouble. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that can be applicable to a lot of different facets in life, but like this is definitely one of them that where parents are trying to probably overcome, because we're living in a world in California and New York where we're introducing trans kids into the mix at 6 years old.
And we're putting labels on them.
Yes, and then telling their peers at 6 years old, like, don't question this. Don't talk about it. Don't go home and ask your parents. Don't come to the guidance counselor or the school and try to make sense of it. Just shut up and accept it and move on with your life, or else you're going to get in trouble.
And why do we have to label? Why is it so important to put labels and pronouns on kids when they're 6 years old? It could
isn't.
Be these kids. It could be that this kid just wants that they're more interested in playing games or with the toys that are traditionally girl toys. Maybe this kid
the day.
Yeah, maybe this kid just wants to play with the dolls and wants to play house and doesn't want to play baseball. And so he's like, yeah, I want to play with the girls. And the teacher's like, oh, you want to play with the girls? So you like dolls and stuff? Yeah, I like dolls and I like to play house. Oh, so are you a little girl then?
Yes.
Well, does it mean I can go play house and play with the dolls? Because if so, then I'm a girl because that's what I want to do. Like, why do we have to, why can't it just be the kid just wants to go, play with the girls and do traditionally girl or a girl doing traditionally boy things without having to say, well, we got to put pronouns on these kids. What's your pronoun? What's your pronoun? It's to force that on little kids has got to be, it cannot be good for their self-discovery, for their mental health, and for Gabe, like you said, I'd hate to grow up right now. Like, why is somebody even asking me what my pronoun is when I'm 6 years old? How are we in this world?
Hey, Daddy, what is a pronoun?
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Totally.
You're learning how to tie your shoe.
These kids can't spell their names entirely.
Right.
They're still, the kids don't learn cursive anymore, and they can't read time off of a non-digital clock.
Yeah.
But we're going to be sure that yes, because little Sally likes to play baseball, she must be a boy. Hey, and heaven forbid you be a tomboy. Remember when we had tomboys?
Yes.
There are no more tomboys.
Right.
Apparently, in 2022, there are no more tomboys. They're just girls who are transitioning into boys.
Right. Right. Yeah. They're girls that identify as boys. That there are no tomboys anymore. No, you're exactly right. And how is that?
Even though every tomboy I've ever encountered has become a girly girl.
And how is that? And how is that good for somebody's own natural look? You as you grow and you figure out who you are and what you like and who you like and all of that stuff, that is life. That's development. That's discovering yourself. But when you have teachers and school policies that are forcing that on you as early as kindergarten and first grade, that you are robbing these kids. And this isn't a straight or a gay or anything issue. You're robbing these kids of their own natural development and self-discovery for nothing more than a political agenda. That's the bottom line, in my opinion.
That's the irony of leftist ideologies, because leftist ideology from the jump is self-defeating. It's always going to defeat whatever goals they set out. So if they set out to say, we want to ensure that individuals have the freedom to define who they are by themselves, what ends up happening is other people, like teachers and ideological parents, are the ones who end up defining kids before they're capable of forming a definition themselves.
Yep.
So they say, don't force your
beliefs
roles or your identity onto these kids. Let them form their own identity.
Yeah.
But there they are, forcing the identity onto the kids who don't know any better.
You're exactly right. As he always is, because he's the smartest person I know. Gabe Pfeiffer from the Mike Ferguson Morning Show. Gabe, thanks as always for joining us on a Friday, and tune in bright and early Monday morning for the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show, where you can hear Gabe every single day along with Ken Williams and, of course, Mike Ferguson. Gabe, thanks, buddy. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. God bless.
You bet. Back at you. All right. It is Friday. It's coming up on 3 o'clock. After the top of the hour news at 3 o'clock, we'll get into a little Friday fun time. And here in just a moment, we are going to check in with Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton over at Channel 4 and get you the all-important weekend forecast. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
You know what's going on?
Have a great awakening.
You see through the smoke screen.
It's cool to be woke.
News Talk STL.
Until it's not.
News, analysis, opinion.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, presto, you're speaking another language. Like magic.
I love that Babbel's lessons aren't just robots talking. They're voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right. And they're designed by real language teachers, so you learn how to have real-world conversations, things you'll actually use.
3 weeks. It's incredible. After 3 weeks, I'm on vacation in Paris, having a conversation in French.
There's all kinds of ways to learn. Use Babbel's podcasts or games or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than
Babbel.
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 Babbel, évidemment.
Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com. Babbel.com.
Celebration time for you and for me. Celebration time. We're in
harmony. Perry Woods, bumper music
It's
there.
our favorite.
I love Perry Woods Fridays on Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Coming up on 3 o'clock here on a Friday afternoon, which means it is that time of the week that we check in with our friend Steve Templeton, Chief Meteorologist over at Channel 4. Steve, listen. Don't
Listen, Linda.
Don't say a word. Don't say a word until I say this. Don't you screw this up. We are on a roll here. This weather has been incredible. Let's just don't mess with any dials. Don't mess with any levers. Just keep it steady as she goes.
I haven't changed my underwear in 10 days. I'm not superstitious.
Is that the way we do this?
It's superstition.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm start doing that too. I'm not changing my underwear anymore either. As long as whatever we can do to keep this going. Are we lucky enough to hold on to this for at least a couple more days, or changes coming our way?
No, we are. Actually, the thing in the atmosphere that's dominating our weather is going to fade, and it's going to be replaced by another one. It's a big high pressure that's just a little farther away. And so what that means is it's going to allow a little bit warmer air to sneak in here. So we're going to go through this gradual warming trend into the weekend. So it's just a little bit warmer, but it's still going to keep our skies clear. It's going to keep us dry. I think it's going to be really nice, low humidity weather for the weekend. So yeah, we've got a good one.
Great.
Time for that first weekend of October, too.
Oh my God. Yeah, cannot beat it. So what are the details here for the next couple of days?
So we still have a cool morning tomorrow, 48, but it warms up to 76. So today's low 70s, tomorrow's mid 70s. Sunny. There's a little bit more wind tomorrow, to northeast wind about 10 to 15. So a little bit more of a breeze. That's about it. Otherwise, Sunday's a touch warmer, 77 for the high and sunny skies. And we just keep it dry. And next week, temperatures start to go up and down a little bit. I do have 80s back in the forecast Wednesday, but it's a one-day 80s reprisal, 81 on Wednesday, and the next day, Thursday, would be down to 70. So, and that cold front that comes through looks like it's going to come through mainly dry. I have a 10% rain chance. That's it. So, next week there's some more ups and downs. It's not as steady Eddie as things have been this week. But the weekend's going to be just gorgeous.
Oh,
just beautiful.
That is fantastic.
So exciting.
Yeah, I don't mind it I don't mind it popping back up to 80 here and there. As long as we stay sunny and
a little chilly,
dry, and and not humid, and certainly no heat, and I'm nowhere near ready.
80s in October, two things. One, it's usually not that humid, and it won't be. And then two, the temperature comes down so quickly in the evening because the sun sets before 7 p.m. So, your evening still turns out really great if you want to, eat on a patio or grill out or whatever it may be. So, the evenings are really comfortable.
Are we going to, at any point in the future, get any of the remnants of the hurricane, or is that path not going to affect us in any way, even down the road?
No direct impact on us. So it making a second landfall in the mainland U.S., at least fourth landfall altogether, Puerto Rico, Cuba, Florida, and now South Carolina. And so it's now it's kind of the beginning stages of its weakening and eventually going away. But that's still going to take a couple days. So basically what happens is it's going to turn into a weaker rain-producing storm out around Charlotte and eventually up into parts of Virginia. And then it's just going to kind of dance around the southeast before eventually being pushed out to shore into the Atlantic, and we're done with it. So I really think this is the beginning of the end of talking about Ian and any kind of destruction and damage from it.
Yeah, now the conversation shifts to recovery, because some of those pictures are just incredible. Some of that stuff
crazy.
That is those images that are coming out of Florida are wild. But good to know that that we're going to be okay here in the St. Louis area, and that we can enjoy some more nice weather through the weekend, and hopefully for a little bit longer here. Steve, really appreciate you as always for your time, and anytime you have a forecast like that, you are welcome on the show, my friend. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
Enjoy, guys. My pleasure.
You bet. Thank you so much. Steve Templeton, the chief meteorologist over at Channel 4. Awesome stuff there. Man, that is great to hear.
I hope fall lingers for a bit.
I
hope it lingers and stays
couldn't
through
agree
October
more.
and November.
Let it linger. Absolutely. All right. We're going to get into the 3 o'clock hour with a little Friday fun time. Also have a story here about Elon Musk. Elon Musk posted a tweet yesterday, and he hurt some feelings. There's some butthurt people out there.
There's some ouchies.
Yeah, some butthurt folks out there about Elon Musk. And I'm not sure that I think that it's time to lighten up, Francis. I don't think he was attacking the
That
people
wasn't his intention.
that think that maybe that they were under attack. We'll get into that and have a little Friday fun time in just a moment here on Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
If you believe Brandon and the supply chain issues are still in crisis, or even if you don't, hurry into Southern Armory, your Second Amendment headquarters, for the best selection of firearms, suppressors, holsters, ammunition, pepper spray, and knives. Browse through our constantly changing inventory, order something special, or have us repair or modify that firearm that you've been putting off. Try our firearms training simulator. See the demo video on our website. Come into Southern Armory, 9901 Watson Road, 1 mile east of 270 and 44, and southernarmory.com. That's southernarmory.com.
Since 2007, the state of Missouri and local governments have handed out almost $5 billion in tax subsidies or abatements to private developers. That money could have gone to basic services like schools and public safety. And studies show these subsidies don't produce the promised jobs and growth. If developers want to build a sports stadium or shopping mall, why should they be given our tax dollars to do it? It's time to reform economic development subsidies. The Show Me message has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Missouri Wild Alchemy is a small, local, and family-owned business dedicated to providing Missouri medical marijuana patients with high-quality cannabis and education. They strive to provide an excellent experience with a professional and friendly approach. They want patients to feel comfortable and to help curtail the stigma of cannabis use by having a professional and well-educated staff. Missouri Wild Alchemy is a proud carrier of products from several Missouri cultivators and manufacturers. That's Missouri Wild Alchemy. Follow them on Facebook and Instagram, or visit them on the web at MissouriWild.com.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
A warehouse caught fire, and all the news TV channels were out there with their cameras, and they were getting some of those shots into the building, and it was such an intense fire, and it was kind of like in the movies when you're looking into a portal into hell.
That's what I would want to be, one of those people who controlled the drones for the TV stations.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be doing like dive bombing and stuff. I'd probably melt a few of those things.
Oh, well, you'd destroy them,
yeah. Yeah, but it would be good video.
It'd be a great shot.
Weekday mornings, 5:30 till 9 on News Talk STL.
So as the weather continues to be amazing outside, we are getting closer and closer to that big transition into the colder temperatures. Definitely getting very cool in the evening, and you may have turned on your furnace for the first time in a long time, or you may be getting ready to do that. It was 2 or 3 years ago that this time of year we went to turn on our furnace for the first time, and there was no warm air, and it was a panic situation, but luckily the folks at Agers Heating and Air Conditioning were there for us. Christine and I trust our home with Agers HVAC. You can definitely do the same, because doing right by the customer is their number one priority at Agers. So as we go through this transition period, if you're noticing anything wrong with your system, don't wait. Don't let what could be a small problem get worse, whether it be repairs on your old system or replacement and you're ready to get a new system. Agers is the place to call. Learn more on the website, callagers.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 101.9, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. Charleston resident Derek Patel says he's awaiting the arrival of Hurricane Ian.
A little bit, but, we're ready for it, I think. We just secured the house and, put the cars in the garages and, waiting what will happen next.
A revived Ian has made landfall on coastal South Carolina. National Weather Service meteorologist John Quicoleo says Ian will affect much of South Carolina.
It's going to track through the northeast part of the state, so the Midlands won't be experiencing the brunt of the storm, but we're already seeing the high wind gusts out there now, up over 40 miles an hour in many areas. So I think that threat will certainly just continue to increase here over the next couple of hours, and I think be with us through the afternoon and the commute home for many people.
Meanwhile, the state of Florida is still reeling from Ian. Nearly 2 million people are still without power. Also at townhall.com, Trump-backed candidate Dr. Oz has gained ground on his Democrat opponent. That's according to the latest poll in the Pennsylvania Senate race. More from correspondent Bob Agnew.
Populist Democrat John Fetterman still enjoys a lead over Republican Mehmet Oz, but it is getting smaller. The latest poll conducted by Emerson College and The Hill finds 45% of PA voters say they'll vote for Fetterman, 43% for Oz. The same poll a month ago showed Fetterman with a 4-point edge. 6 weeks out now from the election, Fetterman's recent stroke is still a concern for a growing number of voters. 9% fewer respondents said the stroke would not affect their vote than those who made that same response a month ago. Bob Agnew reporting.
Stocks finishing lower on Wall Street, on pace to close out another losing month now. The Dow was off 495 points. The NASDAQ was down 161. More at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Hi, my name's Adam Barada. I'm the owner of Advantage Gold, the highest rated precious metals firm in the country. Now, we've won the Best of TrustLink award 4 years in a row because we educate our clients on how to buy gold and silver the right way. We don't pay celebrity spokespeople millions of dollars. We'd rather pass that value on to you. Call 800-900-8000 and speak with one of our experts. We'll send you a free gold kit along with my latest national best-selling book, The Great Devaluation. Call 800-900-8000. Call 800-900-8000.
China has dismissed complaints from 2 members of Congress over the quarantining of American diplomats and their family members. That's under the country's strict COVID-19 regulations.
The Foreign Ministry says China adopts a science-based and effective epidemic prevention protocol for both Chinese and foreigners coming to China without discrimination. And regardless of their status, all U.S. visitors accepted China's epidemic policies, including post-entry medical observation and health monitoring. Republicans James Comer of Kentucky and Michael T. McCall of Texas have written to Secretary of State Antony Blinken asking for clarification on the quarantining of American diplomats and family members by the People's Republic of China. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Russian President Putin accusing the West of sabotaging the Russian-built gas pipelines under the Baltic Sea to Germany. Has requested an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council. Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. The Miami Dolphins finished Thursday's 27-15 loss to the Cincinnati Bengals without their top quarterback.
Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa left Thursday night's game against the Bengals with what the team called injuries to his head and neck. Tagovailoa was swung down and fell on the back of his head in a second-quarter sack. The quarterback laid motionless and was eventually put on a stretcher and taken to a nearby Level 1 trauma center. Tagovailoa suffered an injury 5 days earlier in Sunday's game against the Bills, where he got up from a hit and fell after taking a few steps. The team said he cleared all concussion protocols at the time, and the stability issues were caused by an injury to his back. He later returned to the game. The NFL is conducting an investigation to ensure all concussion protocols were properly followed. I'm Denny Kapp.
Saints coach Dennis Allen says quarterback Jameis Winston is doubtful to play New Orleans' game against the Minnesota Vikings in London because of a back injury. Backup Andy Dalton took first-team snaps again for the 3rd consecutive practice. More on these stories at townhall.com.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton with your first alert forecast. Another cool night tonight, but a warming trend into the weekend. A low of 48 degrees, sunny skies, a little bit more wind in the afternoon, and 76 for the afternoon high. Winds will be about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Nothing too strong, but noticeable breeze. Sunday, 51 for the low, 77 for the high. Temperatures near to even a touch above normal for our weekend. Plenty of sunshine both days. That's the latest first alert forecast. I'm News 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
Friday Fun Time on Colombo and Katie. Brought to you by All Solutions Pest Control. 636-486-7888. Or visit them at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
If you have been thinking about selling your home, if you've been thinking about taking advantage of the market, you need to act now because it still is a great time to sell your home, but you don't know how much longer that window is going to be open. There's a lot of things changing out there, and you don't want to miss your opportunity. So you need to call the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Rodney and Jen Wallner are simply the best when it comes to being the number one home selling team in the area. They're selling 15 times more homes per year than your average home selling team. They have so many qualified buyers right now that they guarantee to get you an offer. And other than the stats, like they definitely have the numbers and the results to back up everything. But they're also just great people to work with. They're friendly, fun people to get to know and to work with, and they put all of their knowledge and their incredible work ethic to work for you to make sure that they are getting you the results that you're looking for. For my wife and I, we were just blown away at how fast they sold our old home. How much we were able to get for it, and then how hard they worked to make sure that because we were buying a home on the other side, to find us a perfect home for our family that we now absolutely love. Every day, we are thankful to the Wallners for finding us the perfect home because we absolutely love it. So again, don't miss this opportunity. If you've been thinking about taking advantage of this market, don't let the window close. Don't let the opportunity pass you by. Call the Wallner team now at 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD, 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner home selling team. Perry Woods Fridays on Colombo and Katie on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. I want to remind you that you can subscribe to our podcast. You never have to miss any moment of the Colombo and Katie show because not only can you, of course, listen to us every day on 101.9 and 94.1 and on newstalkstl.com and our app, the News Talk STL app, a great way to stream the station, especially if you travel. If you work in St. Louis County, but you live in St. Charles County or vice versa, and, depending on where you're at in your day, you're either listening to 101.9 or you're listening to 94.1. If you don't want to go through that transition while you're driving or anything else, just download the app. Just push play on the app.
Simple.
And the signal stays strong. You don't have to switch the stations. Perfect way to make sure that you are always, getting a strong signal from us here at News Talk STL. Also, every show puts up our shows as a podcast right after we go off the air. So you can subscribe to the Colombo and Katie Show podcast on your favorite podcast platform, whatever it may be, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, Google. And you could subscribe to the brand new Colombo and Katie YouTube channel. That's right. We have a YouTube channel here. All the shows do. Subscribe to us there. You can watch the show live stream every day, and you can check out other videos that we post there as well. So all kinds of ways to keep up with everything here at News Talk STL and everything here on the Colombo and Katie show. Gonna get into some Friday fun time here in just a second. First, this one more I guess real headline. How do you say this? I don't know.
Serious.
It's all real, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fox News poll just out shows that the Pennsylvania Senate race has narrowed. So this is interesting because we just did there were other poll results that came out earlier in the week on Tuesday, I believe, this week that showed kind of what the Real Clear Politics average has been showing for the last several weeks, in that John Fetterman was holding like somewhere around a 10-point lead, which seems absolutely incredible.
Insane.
And we were talking about, what are the reasons for that? Is Dr. Oz having a hard time connecting? Is he just not a person that is connecting with the Pennsylvania voter? Well, as we get closer and closer here to Election Day, it looks like the polls there may be tightening up. The recent poll put out just now, the results were just revealed by Fox News. Their new poll shows that that John Fetterman continues to lead over Dr. Oz, but it is now by a 45% to 41%, a 4-point margin, down from the 11-point advantage this same poll showed in July, which around that 11, 10, 9-point average lead for Fetterman is kind of what polls had been showing, maybe until just recently here. It looks like things are definitely tightening up there. The survey also finds that since July, an increasing number expressed concerns over Fetterman's health. He had a stroke, if you'll remember, in May and was off the campaign trail until August. 34% say that they are extremely or very worried he may not be healthy enough to do the job of a senator. For Dr. Oz, the biggest problem is 43% of voters worry he's not familiar enough with the state. And this is exactly one of the things that we mentioned earlier in the week when we were talking about this, that John Fetterman, for all of his issues, and there are an abundance of issues, and quite frankly, the health concern, I think, is even at the bottom. I think policy.
Oh, yeah.
I think
straightforward.
Direction of the state and policy are the biggest concerns. Yes. That I would have if I was a Pennsylvania voter when it came to John Fetterman, but he's been in that state. He's part of that community. He's a known commodity. He has served the state. He has worked for the people of Pennsylvania for years. And Dr. Oz, I think, is by a large portion of the voter base there in Pennsylvania looked at as an outsider. And so this poll shows that's his biggest that's the biggest detriment towards Dr. Oz with Pennsylvania voters, is that they don't believe that he's familiar enough with the state to serve effectively. 43% of the voters say that. Now that's down from 52%. So apparently he's making ground. He's making ground in that area. And changing the mind of some voters, but that continues to be a big issue for him. That is going to be.
I'm wondering.
That's going to be the national spotlight race as we.
Totally. I'm wondering though, because health is such a huge part of what is going on with John Fetterman. I mean, he is cuckoo crazy.
It's their number one concern.
He was cuckoo crazy before the stroke. But really watching him on the campaign trail and listening to him is really a scary notion. His policies are scary in one hand, but like his health and what he is doing and how no matter who you are, you could be Joe Biden, who won a presidential. I mean, he's the president of our United States, and he won from doing it in the basement. But campaigning is really, really difficult. It takes a toll on you mentally and physically. I talked to Tim and Chris both about this. I look at John Fetterman, and as a human being, I'm like, dude, this might not be the smartest decision for your health to go from having a major stroke to the campaign trail and thinking that it's all going to be okay and not noticeable, because it very much so is. I want a debate to happen. I want to see. I think a debate would favor Dr. Oz. I think that's part of why John Fetterman will not do it, because he knows that there are points that Dr. Oz can make that will be valid, and although his celebrity is what's kind of holding him back, his infomercial kind of shine is what's holding Dr. Oz back from excelling in this race. I think that if there was a debate, that would bump him up.
If you believe those poll numbers, I mean, especially if you believe the poll numbers before this Fox poll, and you think that you have as much of a 10-point lead, like other polls have shown for Fetterman, a debate always favors the underdog.
Yeah,
because if you have a big lead like that, you have nothing to gain. You have everything to lose. So. Yeah, if it's truly more like a 3 or 4 point, then both sides could benefit from a strong debate performance. But
at 10,
if Fetterman believes that if they believe those polls that they're that far ahead, then they are going to resist a debate at every or if they just truly know that they'll get outclassed and defeated in a debate too. Obviously, you'd want to stay away from it. But as long as he believes he has a lead there,
it's not happening.
I don't see them. I don't see them agreeing to it. Elon Musk's floating Cybertruck tweet really hurt some feelings, and this story sort of made me shake my head because
floating Cybertruck.
I'm not sure that he was attacking people when he made this tweet. I'll tell you the story. You tell me how you see if you interpret it the way I did. Elon Musk tweeted yesterday that the upcoming Cybertruck will have the ability to float, adding to its utility. Quote, Cybertruck will be waterproof enough to serve briefly as a boat, so it can cross rivers, lakes, and even seas that aren't too choppy, Musk wrote. Musk had previously made the claim about the stainless steel Cybertruck and also the Model S sedan. About the sedan, he posted all the way back in 2016, we definitely don't recommend this, but Model S floats well enough to turn into a boat for short periods of time. Thrust via wheel rotation, he tweeted. That was back in 2016. But again, he wasn't really, they just were mentioning it. With this one, this new Cybertruck, he's saying like, it's part of the utility of having the truck, that it is waterproof enough to serve briefly as a boat, so it can cross rivers, it can cross lakes, it even can cross short spaces of open water, seas, as long as it's not too choppy. This rubbed a lot of government agencies the wrong way. One noticeable response came from the Washington State Department of Natural Resources, which torpedoed Musk's tweet with one of its own that included a photo of a car underwater in a flood. And it said, our derelict vessel crews are begging you to understand that anything that serves briefly as a boat should not be used as a boat. And it shows a picture of a car underwater, which I don't think Elon Musk was saying buy the Cybertruck because it's a boat. I think he was saying like, especially when we see all this flooding down here, like one of the benefits of this truck is that you won't die underwater if it can actually float and not sink.
What?
So anyway, like, lighten up, Francis. Take it easy. And then the San Francisco Bay ferry operators sent an even more aggressive tweet. And again, Elon wasn't sending this at people. He wasn't like, I'm putting you out of business. He was just saying, hey, one of the utilities of the Cybertruck is that it floats.
Isn't that neat?
And I think it's especially relevant right now with what's happening with this hurricane and all this flooding and stuff. The San Francisco Bay ferry operators sent a tweet saying this: announcement to prepare for the inevitability of the Nintendo 64 floaty truck flotilla, rendering us obsolete. Jeez. We're adding little wheels to our ferries. Landboat will be able to serve brief as a bus so it can cross bridges, parking lots, and highways that are not too congested. Then it went on to say, hurry, come ride before the Blade Runner barge armada puts us out of operation. Free rides next Wednesday.
What?
We're a little thin-skinned, guys?
And I mean,
he wasn't saying the truck was going to replace ferries. He was just saying that
it started off the tweet. Their tweet started off being like Elon Musk is trying to replace ferry services.
Something tells me they're a little bit more afraid of that really happening than they're trying to let on.
Why in
By
the
calling it a
world?
video game truck. Now, look, nobody's going to buy it. If you do, you're dumb. If you're buying the truck because you want to take it out of the water and float and be a boat, then you're an idiot. And I think Elon would agree with that. But the fact saying that, hey, one of the cool things about this truck is that it floats. So, if you get caught in a flood, you won't die, or if you just need to cross a little patch of water, you can, because this is capable of doing that.
People aren't going to use this to go from New York to New Jersey. Like, people aren't using this as actual, like, I am going to go to the Lake of the Ozarks and use...
And fish off my Cybertruck.
It's insane to even take it in that direction. I feel like there is... What is that? Whenever you have like a conflict before something happens and like it's built up a little bit.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
They got a little bit of a
they're
chip on their
They're already
shoulder
worried about something.
with Elon.
They're already
Musk.
worried about technology passing them up, and apparently this was the last straw.
You're okay,
Like,
fairies.
I think you're a little bit worried. I think there's a little bit of truthfulness in your worry. If you anything that says that it can briefly be used as a boat should not, and here's why. Because there's a picture of dead people underneath the water in their car. Like,
It's
what?
like, whoa, dude. Whoa. Calm down.
Lighten up, Francis.
What the heck? And Elon Musk is probably just looking at that like, what?
I mean, I know, like, when you're Elon Musk, obviously, I mean, we've been through it. Like, I'll say something about, some innocuous side comment about something and just get buried about, I can't believe you went. And, like, it has nothing to do with anything that I was saying,
Right.
And so what Elon must go through is absolutely, is on, a totally different planet.
This is what you get for being innovative in the country. The Ferry
He's just
Commission.
making a quote about the floating truck.
Ferry
And he's got the
Commission coming
Ferry
at ya.
Commission
knocking down
Yeah.
doors.
Oh, so the video game truck's going to replace us, huh?
It's just it's so crazy.
No, that's not what he said at all. He didn't say it was a ferry. He said it was a truck that can cross a small patch of water.
And it'll cost you an arm and a leg. No one has the money to buy this yet
Yeah.
unless you're Bill Gates.
Yeah, and nobody's going to buy them until they look better because
Right.
they're ugly. It's cool that they float, but they're ugly.
Ugly.
McDonald's is going to start selling adult Happy Meals.
Love it.
Here we go. I knew you were going to love
it,
this.
love
I
it.
knew
Let's
this was going to be on.
go.
I knew this was going to be something you were a fan of. Are you familiar with this? Have you read the story at
I
all?
only saw the headline and saw a picture.
McDonald's is about to start selling adult Happy Meals. They will hit the menu this coming Monday. And yes, you get a toy.
Love every minute of it.
There are two types, one with a Big Mac, fries, and a drink, and one with a 10-piece nugget.
Oh my God, I need that.
Yeah, except I'm a huge McDonald's guy, but I don't like
too.
Big Macs.
Yeah, it's a little bit much.
I'm a quarter pounder guy.
Big Macs are a little bit much. I would definitely do the 10-piece nugget though, all day.
I'm a quarter pounder guy, or even just 2 cheeseburgers.
Same.
I'll do that all day.
Love 2 cheeseburgers.
Not a big fan of the Big Mac, so I wish there was a quarter pounder.
Those are the only 2 options?
Those are the only 2 options: Big Mac and 10-piece nuggets.
Is it temporary, or is this going to be like a thing that's added to the menu?
That is a great question.
I hope if it's successful, I hope they expand on that. It's not like I need the toy, but it just brings me back. I like it for the nostalgia.
Oh, there's also a rumor that they're bringing back the Halloween Happy Meals that look like jack-o'-lanterns.
Yes, I saw that too.
So here's the other weird thing: the toy that you get. Okay, they've partnered with some fashion brand called Cactus Plant Flea Market.
Oh God!
Have you ever heard of Cactus Plant Flea Market?
I already can't.
I can't either. So they're the ones providing the toys. You get one of 4 figurines, which 3 of the 4 are like the classic McDonald's characters: the Hamburglar,
Ooh,
Grimace,
cool. Yes,
and
Grimace.
Birdie.
Yay!
No Ronald McDonald, because nobody likes clowns anymore.
We've moved past
So
it.
3 of the 4 toys are Hamburglar, Grimace, and Birdie. The other one is some weird little humanoid thing called Cactus Buddy, which I'm sure is the Cactus Plant Flea Market mascot. They're old school looking McDonald's toys, but they all have 4 eyes.
I saw that picture. Why do they have 4 eyes?
If you're watching on the camera, unfortunately Birdie got cut off when I went to print this picture. So you get if you're watching on the cameras on either Facebook.
Oh, that looks really good on the camera.
Or Rumble or on our YouTube channel. You can see it right now. You see Grimace, you see Hamburglar,
Why
you
do
see
they have
Cactus
4
Buddy.
eyes?
Why do they have 4 eyes?
That's creepy. I don't
know.
like that.
That's the one part of the adult Happy Meal that I don't like.
But man, do I love the concept. I
Adult
love
Happy
the
Meals.
concept. That is so neat.
Let's go, right?
Have they ever made adult Happy Meals
No,
before? It's
I
always
don't
been
know.
kids things?
Yeah.
Golly,
Absolutely.
I love that.
I know. Me too.
I
I'm
think
happy.
it's so cool.
Starting on Monday. All right, that's going to do it. Speaking of Monday, that's the next time you'll see me. I'm out of here. Actually, you can tune in tomorrow to the Bluff City Outdoor Show. That's not true. You can listen to me tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Bluff City Outdoor Show every Saturday right here on News Talk XTL. Make sure you check it out. Colombo and Katie will be back on Monday at 2 o'clock. Subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. Colombo and Katie podcast available on all podcast platforms, and also subscribe to the Colombo and Katie YouTube channel. Tim Jones and Chris Arps coming in now to take you through the rest of your Friday and get you to the weekend. So don't go anywhere, and thank you so much for listening to us and supporting us here at 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
The struggle is hard, but it can't bring your way.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the Morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Colombo and Katie, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL.
Fox News commentary.
Hashtag bring back masks was trending on Twitter this week, and further evidence liberals love masks and are not going to be happy until you learn to love them too. Not going to happen. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry